get into an article. I thought this was interesting. Inflation adjusted house prices 3% below peak. Now, it says it's been over 16 years since the bubble peak. In the Case-Shiller release yesterday, this was the 30th, so the 29th, the seasonal adjusted national index was reported as being 62% above the bubble peak in 2006. However, in real terms, the national index is about 12% above the bubble peak, and historically has been an upward slope to real house prices. The composite 20 in real terms is about 3% above the bubble peak. Both indexes have declined for 4 consecutive months in real terms. People usually graph nominal house prices, but it's also important to look at prices in real terms. As an example, if a house price was $200,000 in January of 2000, the price will be almost $338,000 today, adjusted for inflation, which is a 69% increase. That is why the second graph below is important. This shows the real prices, and I think this is important. That's why we're reading it. The nominal house prices, the first graph, shows the monthly Case-Shiller National Index and the monthly Case-Shiller Composite 20 SA in nominal terms as reported. In nominal terms, the Case-Shiller National Index and the Case-Shiller Composite Index are both just below all-time highs set in June. Both indexes declined in September, with the national index off 2.2% from the recent peak and the composite index off 3.3%. Okay. By the way, Calculated Risk is a Substack written by Bill McBride. If you would like, I've read some of his stuff. It's pretty good. Real house prices, the second graph shows the same two indexes in real terms, adjusted for inflation using CPI less shelter. Note, some people use other inflation measures to adjust for real prices. In real terms, the national index is 3.3% below the recent peak, and the composite is 4.4. In real terms, house prices are still above the bubble peak levels. There's an upward slope to real house prices, and it has been over 16 years since the previous peak. But real prices are historically high. Price to rent ratio. In October 2004, Fed economist John Craner and researcher Christian Wee wrote a Fed letter on price to rent ratios. Craner and Wee presented a price to rent ratio using OFHEO House Price Index and the owner's equivalent rent from the BLS. So they compared two indexes. Ugh, I got an itch. Note that the OER is lagging behind other measures of recent rent increases. The price to rent ratio essentially is supposed to tell you, should you be renting now or should you be buying? Or if you are renting, it looks like you're in a period of, ever higher rents, and that would be bad. And then if you're buying, it would be, well, that'd be good because there's more value there than renting. That's what it's supposed to do. Here's a similar graph using the Case-Shiller National and National 20 House Price Indexes. This graph shows the price to rent ratio. The price to rate ratio had been moving more sideways, but picked up significantly following the onset of the pandemic. On a price to rent basis, the Case-Shiller National Composite 20 indexes declined again in September for the fourth consecutive month. The price to rent index for the national index is off 4.7% from the recent peak, and the composite 20 based index is off 5.7%. By all of the above measures, house prices are elevated but declining. But do you see how this chart goes up in a straight line? That can't be good. See, like it started doing this here too. When was that? Like 2001 to 2005. But this one's even more dramatic. This was just basically 2021 to 2023. And then Calculated Risk Affordability Index. I put together my own affordability index since 1976 that is similar to the first American approach. More of a house price index adjusted by mortgage rates and the median household income. I use median income from the Census Bureau, estimated 2021-22, assumed a 15% down payment and used a 2% estimate for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. This is probably low for high property tax states like New Jersey and Texas, and too high for lower property tax states. If we were including condos, we'd also include HOA fees too. This is excluded. For the house prices, I use the Case-Shiller National Index, seasonally adjusted. Also, for the down payment, there wasn't a significant difference between 15% and 20%. For mortgage rates, I use the Freddie Mac PMMS 30-year fixed rate. So here's what the index looks like now. Lower is a more affordable, like the First American Index. So if you're going down, that's good. You're going up, that's bad. Affordability worsened in September as mortgage rates increased, even though house prices declined. So what this means is, like, look, even if house prices go down, if mortgage rates go up, your affordability is going to still be lower. Note that this index during the early 80s, homes were very unaffordable due to the very high mortgage rates. As At the housing bubble, houses were at about the same level of unaffordability using 30-year mortgage rates. However, during the bubble, there were many affordability products that allowed borrowers to be qualified at the teaser rate, usually around 1%, that made houses seem more affordable. Note the average 30-year mortgage rate in September was 6.11, increased to 6.90 in October. So affordability will be much worse in October, but improve a little in November. I think affordability matters, right? I mean, how is the market going to weather something that's not affordable? Doesn't make any sense. Airbnb launches a platform allowing renters to host apartments, partnering with major landlords. It seems like a terrible idea for Airbnb, but the mom and pops, quote unquote, that have Airbnbs right now are getting eaten alive. Says the company said on a new page on the site will so-called, we don't even do that. We'll do it this way. Airbnb is partnering with several major landlords and management companies to list designated apartment buildings where renters are allowed to offer short-term sublets on the site. The company said Wednesday that a new page on its website will list so-called Airbnb-friendly buildings, which will give tenants the option to host their apartments just as homeowners can. That seems crazy to me. Why are you renting a place and then subleasing it? It says, to start, Airbnb is showcasing 175 apartment buildings in more than 25 major markets, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Denver, Seattle, and Phoenix. Some cities, such as New York City and Washington, D.C., are not available due to local restrictions on short-term rentals. You run into the question of, should short-term rentals be limited? This is really getting dicey. The platform will help tenants host their rentals and help the buildings attract tenants who may want to host. How much tenants can earn would vary, but that's obvious. It depends on the building, depends on the location. There are a lot of different assumptions. Nathan Bletcher, co-founder of Airbnb. Okay, I agree with that. Obviously, how would you know the exact number? Doesn't make any sense. Given how much apartment rents have climbed over the past years, along with home prices and other rising prices, tenants are increasingly looking for ways to supplement their incomes to make their monthly payments. Rents are starting to ease, but are still up 10% from a year ago, according to Apartment List. Now, look, how are you not living in your apartment during this time? And how is what you're paying in rent, like you've got to put in more than that for the person to live there? They've got to be putting in more than that. I mean, there's an affordability crunch here. It says last year rents rose more than 15% from the year before. The new page on Airbnb's website will also offer a calculator to show how much money the tenant can potentially make per month. Seriously. Stupid. Like, if you can't figure that out, you probably shouldn't be renting your unit. The calculation changes depending on the number of bedrooms and the number of nights each building allows, as well as potential asking rates given the building's amenities. Apartment buildings can also charge the primary tenant a fee of up to 20% of the price of each Airbnb use. For those buildings that have been in test mode so far, Airbnb said tenants have hosted an average of 9 nights per month with an average income of $900 a month. All hosts in the participating buildings must be the primary resident, and the building can restrict how many nights per month the apartment can be sublet. That's generally between 80 and 120 nights per year. The restrictions which can be enforced, since the transactions all take place on the portal, are intended to prevent investors from taking part in subletting the apartments full time. Well, good luck with that. Man, is it true there are places that in the rental market where you can literally rent an apartment from a management company and then sublease it out to someone else for more money, enough to make it worth your while? The apartment building owner or management company also has the right to review the listings before they go live and deactivate a listing if it doesn't comply with the building standards. They can also mandate a government ID from all potential subletters. Ooh, great. Now we've got an ID. They'll definitely not trash an apartment now. Equity Residential and UDR, which are apartment real estate investment trusts, or REITs, and Greystar, the largest apartment management company in the U.S., are among the major firm names offering apartments with hosting privileges on the new Airbnb platform. If you own an apartment building and you get 20% off of the tenant who leases their building, their unit, for nothing, I mean, that's smart. Take that. We believe this platform will provide the right tools for both owners and residents to effectively manage short-term rental activity. Good. Without impacting overall housing supply, we are collaborating with Airbnb on this innovative approach to participate in the 21st century sharing economy in a thoughtful way. I don't want to be in the sharing economy. People on the right were okay with the sharing economy, the shared economy. I never wanted to be a part of it. I like to own things. I like them to be mine. I don't like the World Economic Forum for this reason. You'll own nothing and like it. No, I'd like to own things. I don't like when people build things that are purposely designed to fail over time, timed obsolescence. Your phone, your Tesla, like a tractor, you can still buy a Ford like 9N tractor and damn thing still runs. And they were built in like the 50s. That's what I want. That's the world I want to live in. You buy something and it's got some value, and if you do it just right, you actually like get a return on the money that you spent.